to detect the lung function, we have to have some parameters, and those parameters are the lung volume and the lung capacities. So you see that they are different. In the learning objectives, you should know that there are different lung volumes and lung capacities. By assessing these parameters, we can come to know about the function of the lung. So today we will be studying these different parameters. Okay. And with these parameters, we can assess the function of lung. So similarly, when there is diseases of kidney or any problem of the kidney, we have got some function test, that kidney renal function test. And for, for heart, if you want to assess the quality of how the heart is working, we have got a lipid profile by which we can assess, and we have got different parameters which we can assess how the heart is going on. So similarly, in assessing the lung diseases, we have got these different lung volumes and lung capacities, how much the lungs can hold the air, how much it can expire and inspire with the normal parameters. Okay, so let's study this. There are 4 volumes, subdivisions, and there are 4 lung capacities, and we will see that in the lung volumes, they do not overlap each other. Together, we can get the total lung capacity. Assess the total lung capacity. Okay. So the basic lung volumes are the tidal volume, the inspiratory reserve volume, and the expiratory reserve volume. Residual volume. So we will be studying each volume categorically, so you can understand the parameters of the lung function test. Okay. I don't know, the slide is not moving. I'll just see. Okay. So if you see the lung volumes, you can see, students, that this is a picture showing you the total lung capacity. And these are the different parameters which you can see, that this one is called the residual volume. It is the amount of air which is left after complete inspiration or expiration. Then there is the expiratory reserve volume. This is the tidal volume, and this is the inspiratory reserve volume. So the total lung capacity comprises all these volumes together, and this is the vital capacity. This comprises these 3 parameters. So what is tidal volume? Tidal volume is the volume of gas. Tidal volume is the volume of gas inspired or expired with each breath. That means the tidal volume is telling you about the amount of air which a person can take in and give out during a normal quiet breathing. So this is the tidal volume, and it is a very important parameter. This parameter is normally 500 milliliter, and it can assess the different degrees of diseases if the compliance is different accordingly. Then the tidal volume is calculated. It is around 500 ml, and only about 70% actually reaches the alveoli. So if you look at this picture, you can see that this is the tidal volume. Then coming to the inspiratory reserve volume, previously we taught you about the tidal volume, that it is the amount of gas inspired or expired with each breath. Okay. Now we are coming to inspiratory reserve volume. This is also a parameter to assess the diseases of the lung. Okay. And Normally, it is the maximum amount of air that can be inhaled after a normal tidal volume inspiration. Okay, so this is the inspiratory reserve volume. So we can study this, that inspiratory reserve volume is the amount of air that can be inhaled after a normal tidal volume. So if you look at this picture, we can see the inspiratory reserve volume. Please, can you see this box, blue box? And it is showing you that it is the inspiratory reserve volume, and its capacity is normally is 300 milliliter. Then there is another parameter which is called the expiratory reserve volume. Okay, it is the maximum amount of air that can be exhaled from the resting expiratory level. So we studied the tidal volume, then we studied the inspiratory reserve volume. The third is inspiratory reserve volume. This is also a parameter which detects the amount of air that can be exhaled or expelled from the respiratory expiratory level. Okay, so this is how it is. So the air which is above the normal quiet breathing is expiratory reserve volume. So if you look at this box is showing you the expiratory reserve volume, which is around 1200 ml. Okay. Then coming to the residual volume, this is a very important parameter also, and it shows the volume of air remaining in the lung after a maximal expiration. So what is residual volume? This is the residual volume of air which is remaining. That means after we inspire or expire, the amount which, especially after the maximal expiration, this amount will denote you the volume of air remaining in the lung after the maximal expiration. This is the only lung volume which cannot be measured by this parameter. This is not possible. Other lung capacities, because the volume is so less, that it is not very much detected by the parameter. Then coming, so we studied the 4 lung volumes. Now we will be doing the basic lung capacities, the total lung capacity, the vital capacity, the functional residual capacity, and the inspiratory capacity. All these 4 basic capacities are also important because they tell you the function of the lungs, how they are working, how they are inspiring, how they are expiring. You know, the lungs are very important for because they are the carrier of oxygen. We take in the oxygen, and that is absorbed by the hemoglobin molecule, and then that oxygen is traveled in whole of our body, and then it supplies the whole tissues. Okay, and the CO2 is expelled out. So if the lung capacity is good, the extensibility of the stretchability of the compliance and everything is good in the lungs, then these volumes and capacities will be in normal levels. Otherwise, these parameters will be deranged. So in capacities, we will see how much amount it is capable of taking in. So the total lung capacity, the vital capacity, the functional residual capacity, and the inspiratory capacity. So by studying the total lung capacity, we can see that as the name denotes, it is the amount of volume which has been added by the different volumes, isn't it? That is the volume of air contained in the lungs at the end of the maximal inspiration. So this total lung capacity is the volume of air that is contained in our lungs at the end of the maximal inspiration, and it is a sum of 4 basic lung volumes. Okay, that is the respiratory, residual volume, the inspiratory respiratory volume, the tidal volume, and the expiratory respiratory volume. Okay, so it is a total. So if we add these all together, these parameters, we can come to know about the total lung, how well it is functioning. So students, the amount is around 600 ml, and this is the inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume, expiratory reserve volume, and the residual volume. So if we add all these four together, we get the total lung capacity. And you know that these parameters have got their volumes, which we have taught you. And if we add together, the total lung capacity should be around 600 ml. The body, these total lung capacities, as I told you, we can calculate these and total lung volumes by these parameters, and by seeing the parameters, we can decide about the capacity and the functioning of the lung. There are other methods beside that, which we can calculate the total lung capacities. That is the borography, which are more advanced methods. Otherwise, by this parameter, also by vitolograph, and that we can also calculate the lung capacities and volumes. In this plethysmograph, we can see that it is a chamber in which a person is seated, and then a vacuum is created, and then a mouthpiece is given to him, and then we then calculate the amount, how much the chest expanded, and how much the air went into the lungs, and how much he expired. By this method also, we can calculate the total lung capacity. Besides this, there is another method called the helium dilution. Here we give the atoms of helium, and then we assess how much the lungs capacity was, how much the lungs took the volume, and in this way we can calculate the total lung capacity also. So this is the plethysmography method, and this the principle which is used to assess the lung volumes and capacities is the Boyle's law. Okay, and the other method, as I told you, is the helium dilution method, and this helium dilution method is such that the spirometers, you can see that this is the helium the person is allowed to breathe in, and then we calculate the tidal volume, the expiratory reserve volume, the inspiratory reserve volume by in this closed circuit. So this is another method called the helium dilution method, and in which we can calculate. So unknown lung volume, if we don't know, we can calculate by this method. Then I want to discuss another very important parameter called the vital capacity. So this is the vital capacity, and the vital capacity is the maximum volume of air that can be forcefully expelled from the lungs following a maximal inspiration. And it is the largest volume of air, okay? And it is the largest volume of air and which can be measured with the spirometer. So the vital capacity comprises the inspiratory reserve volume, the tidal volume, the expiratory reserve volume. So this, and if, or we can even subtract the total lung capacity by the residual volume. So by this also way, we can assess the vital capacity. Okay. So the normal vital capacity is, the parameter for it is 48,000 milliliter. Okay. So this is the vital capacity. If we add all these, we will get 48 milliliters. So this is the normal amount. And if there is some disease, any restrictive disease or obstructive disease, the normal parameters are then changed. Now coming to functional residual capacity. This is also a very important parameter, and this parameter will tell you about the functional residual capacity of the lungs. It is the volume of air remaining in the lungs at the end of the normal tidal volume expiration. Okay, the lungs are made up of elasticity. The alveoli, the trachea, they've all got elastic particles, collagen and elastic. So they are capable of distending with each inspiration, and then they recoil with expiration. So these elastic forces combined with the chest wall forces by the muscles, they balance the lung forces. That is the functional residual capacity. So the functional residual capacity is the expiratory reserve volume plus the residual volume. Then coming to the inspiratory capacity. This is the inspiratory capacity. Okay. This inspiratory capacity is the maximum volume of the air that can be inspired from the end of expiratory position. Okay. This capacity is of less clinical significance than the other three. So the inspiratory capacity is the tidal volume plus the inspiratory reserve volume. So we can calculate the inspiratory capacity if we have got the tidal volume and the inspiratory reserve volume. So students, by even knowing the volumes, we can come to know about the capacities by adding them together. So this is what I was taught you, that these are the lung volumes and capacities. These lung volumes and capacities are very important, and these are very important parameters. And this are showing you the normal levels, and by assessing these levels by the spirometer, we can come to know about the lung diseases, because if they do not fall into these ranges, then we can always come to know whether the disease was respiratory disease was either due to obstruction or due to restrictive diseases. And by this we can also come to know about the functional capacity, how much the lung can inhale and exhale, how much the disease has penetrated into a person. So these are in fact the pulmonary function test, which provide you assessing method to calculate the function of a person's lungs. Then this slide is showing you the forced expiratory volume 1. This is a very important parameter, and it is in fact the volume of air that can be expired in the first second, okay, of a forced maximum expiration. So during expiration, we are calculating it. It is a forced expiratory volume within 1 second, and this will assess by calculating it, we can know the difference of which disease has occurred, whether it's an obstructive type of lung disease or it is a restrictive lung disease. So FEV1 is normally, it is 80% of the forced vital capacity. Okay, so if we divide the forced expiratory volume divided by forced vital capacity, we can calculate it. In obstructive lung diseases, as in asthma, FEV1 is reduced than the FVC. Okay. Whereas obstructive disease, it's understandable. It means that lung disease in which there is an obstruction within the trachea and in the bronchi and bronchioles. But in restrictive lung diseases, due to fibrosis or the lung tissue has destroyed, then the FEV1 will be normal or it may be increased. So by calculating this important forced expiratory volume, one can detect the lung volumes and capacities, and whether the disease was expiratory or whether the disease was due to obstructive diseases or due to restrictive diseases. And by these lung volumes, we can also assess about the lung pulmonary function test. Okay, so thank you students. Any queries please you can ask about this pulmonary function test.